$15 from an anonymous donation. Thank you very much. Back to the $10.80 again. $10.80. Hi GDQ. Watching for a few years now, and this is my first year I can donate. Love all that you do, and I am so hyped for Taskbot versus Super Monkey Ball. So let's make it happen. Greetings from Germany. That was from Korneko21. Appreciate that. $12 from JT Scout. Says, I hope you reach 1 million soon. Helping unite gamers, streamers, and many, many others for a good cause. Gaming for as long as I can remember. Thank you very much, JT Scout. And speaking of hitting the million, we just hit $800,000. And I cannot think of a better way to get ready. GDQ, let's hear the most noise you can possibly muster for Wobs23. That's you guys out in the audience. Make some noise.
Wait.
Okay. Are we good?
Yep, I think so.
All right.
So let's do introductions super quick. So I'm Wobs23. I've been playing this game since about 2014. It's a huge favorite of mine. Joining me on the couch we have...
I'm Amerlin. Hi.
And then on the calling in over Discord is one of the developers of Cloudbuilt, Gafgar. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, hello. I'm called Gafgar, or Anders Tavalius. I'm creative director at Coilworks, and yeah, this is our first game. We made it a few years back.
It's really good.
It's ridiculous how good it is, actually. So I'm ready to go. Give you the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So to start off, we have this little intro level here. Most of the rest of the game is going to be centered around the jetpack, which we get in the next level. However, this one is mainly just meant to introduce the way Demi likes to move around, what she likes to grab onto, without complicating things too much with the jetpack.
Yeah, and one thing to notice here is that Demi does grab onto like literally everything. It's pretty ridiculous how sticky she is, at least in this part. And then later on that becomes somewhat of a problem when she likes to either grab onto everything or grab onto 2 things at once and then never grab onto anything.
Demi sometimes does like to troll you. So by default, when you start a new game, it will pause the game for tutorial messages, which is not overly fast. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off in the menu right now. And an interesting thing about this level, which is the first level with the jetpack, is it's one of the harder levels for speedrunning because it's so linear. There's not really a lot of options for skipping things. You just need to actually be fast.
So you'll notice there's now an energy bar along the bottom of the screen, and Demi looks a little bit different. She's not blue and outlined. That energy bar at the bottom of the screen is her jetpack energy. It's 100 max, and a jump takes 25. A dash takes other way. Dash takes 25, jump takes 33, and a dash and jump together takes 45. But if you, the one that's reduced there is the jump, and it costs 20, and that's going to be important for a little later on.
These little yellow energy pickups you see me grabbing out also give you 50 energy each. So what I was trying to do on that wall back there, oh no, This is so sad. Okay. Oh well, we'll go back to that section. But the little yellow energy orbs are really important for chaining together and gaining momentum. And so missing one back there caused me to have to alter my route so that I could actually complete that section.
And this level has a lot of them compared to most levels. So.
It also has a lot of placeable checkpoints. This is so sad.
Geez.
Okay, I'm going to be super safe this time. It's all right. We're off to a fantastic start.
Getting all the jitters out of the way early.
Exactly. Speaking of jitters.
Like you see, this is actually very tricky. Most of the time, like Demi makes it look very easy, but...
All right, I'm going to be quiet for a second while I get it back together. You guys can take over.
Sure. So the dash jumps I was talking about, if you do a little bit of math, you'll notice that you can do 2 dash jumps on a full bar of energy for 245s each. and that leaves 10 energy left over. That can actually be comboed into a additional dash jump through some mechanics that aren't really explained to you, but Wobs can utilize to his own ends to gain a little bit more height or distance as needed.
An interesting thing about this next level is, in contrast to the tutorial level, this level is essentially just 3 big jumps. And this is where you're going to see your first example of what's called a free dash. So by holding down Shift, I can charge up a dash, which when I then use it, costs me 0 energy. And because we mentioned earlier that the jump is what's discounted when you do a dash jump combo, you actually can pull off 3 dash jump combos when you use a free dash, as opposed to 2 when you do a normal jump.
Yeah, well, that's penalty of standing still in the start for charging.
Yes.
So Gafgar, I actually had a question for you. While we were practicing commentary, I asked Wobs, and he didn't know this. How long does it take for a Demi to start recharging energy when she's standing still?
You start recharging. Oh, do you mean the quick charge?
Yeah.
Like there is. Okay. I've been so deep into Super Cloudbuilt, the remake of this game that we made, so I don't have the exact numbers in my head anymore for. Sorry, but I think it's about 1.6 seconds or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
Chance to succeed.
That's why, so the quick charge triggers after you've been standing still on a surface for a certain period of time. So that's why it's really important that when I need to wait for energy, I need to make sure that I exit any slide states or anything like that as quickly as possible to get my energy back.
Yeah.
And then coming up is one of my favorite skips. Let's see if I can get it first try. So
Ooh,
this is
nice.
called disc skip. I gotta land directly on top of this disc. And then from there, I can jump up and skip about half the level. And the funny thing about that is those guys are actually named keepers, because their only job is really to keep you out of places. But that one is not particularly good at his job.
It was so intended, you know.
That's like been a major debate within the community, is like, is Coilworks actually just mad geniuses who designed all these routes, or do they get really lucky like 45 times in a row?
Well, it's lucky depend on who you ask. Like the level designer is so happy when you skip a level in 2 jumps. So.
Oh, I'm sure. When we put in multiple dozens of hours of work, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy this in 20 seconds. So this jump can be really finicky. 2 things can happen here. Oh, we got the good jump.
Dang, good one, nice.
So ideally we would land on that platform. Alternatively, if you don't get the height you need, there's a checkpoint you can land on below there, which you can then traverse the level from there, but it's significantly slower. Yeah. So that jump's nice.
One thing that we failed to mention at the beginning of the run is that this run is really fast, so we're going to take a couple seconds to explain what can be done in about half a second. So oftentimes we're going to be referring to something that just happened.
Yeah, we're keeping you on your toes at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
Make sure you're paying attention.
Really got to testing everybody here.
And we haven't even mentioned the weapon yet, right?
Yeah, so I was actually gonna get to that. So Demi's blaster, which you can see in the center of the screen right now, has 3 levels of charge. Has yellow, which has a decent amount of homing, does a little bit of damage, a little bit of knockback. Green, which has, again, a little bit of homing, some damage and some knockback. And blue, which has barely any homing, but a lot of damage and a lot of knockback compared to the other 2. So you'll notice Wobs flicking down and looking at his feet a lot. That's when he's charging a blue shot to kind of bounce him off the ground a little bit, to get a little bit of extra height, and sometimes that does make the difference in making a jump or not making a jump.
And then just a little bit about the first section of this game. Overall, we're doing full game Defiance, which, as it sounds, is the entire game. Every single level that's ever been officially released for Cloudbuilt will be played. And the first section that we're doing is the original 22, which, as the name implies, is the 22 levels that were released when the game first came out. And these levels are divided into 4 branches. And this is the final level of the first branch, the Night Branch. So as a result, there are essentially 4 final levels that we're going to be contending with.
And each of them is harder than the last, so he's doing them kind of in difficulty order. And then the hardest of the original 22 is Redeployment, which is absolutely, hands down, not my favorite level. I really don't like it.
Geffer, how do you feel about everybody hating on Redeployment so much? Is it?
I don't think that many hated when they learned it, but yeah.
It took me like 3 hours.
To be, at the release, it was made to be that level you came back to later and didn't take the first time. So you wanted there to be something for you to strive towards. So if people find it too difficult in the beginning, we're actually happy about it.
I certainly found it difficult.
So a little thing about
Not
completing
compared
each...
to
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Defiance, though. Sorry.
Oh, Defiance is brutal.
I didn't even touch Defiance.
Defiance will be coming up way later, though. So every time you finish a branch, you get a little ending cutscene, and each branch is one interpretation of Demi's story here. So every time you complete one, you get a nice little ending cutscene, and it kicks you back out to the main menu. And I have to be a little bit careful in the main menu to make sure that I don't accidentally start the game over. Oh, come on. So ideally, I would have grabbed onto that platform that I just missed, and the backup strat is to land on that the grass platform that I slid right off. So hopefully one of those two things will go right this time. There we go. That's what we wanted.
It's strange seeing the
Oh, all
Cloudbuilt,
right.
you know.
So Wobs and I have a little donation going. Every time he either kills Demi or lands on top of the platform as he finishes the level, we're each going to donate $5. So that's one right there.
Oh, lands on top of the goal.
Lands on top of the goal. Yeah.
So it's $5. We have 2 more that are guaranteed to happen because I die of fall damage.
Yep.
Speaking of, Maestro Scar donates $10.80 and says, "Hey Wobs, donating $10.80 up front, so I'm not sure how many gold deaths I can afford to donate for. Maybe after this you can start running Super Cloudbuilt like the rest of us." Hashtag Demi.
Sorry, Maestro, I'm way too much of a casual for Super Cloudbuilt. That game is so hard.
On some aspects, speedrunning Cloudbuilt is probably more hardcore in some ways.
Oh, I completely 100% disagree. Cloudbuilt is an easy game. We just skip over all the hard parts. Super Cloudbuilt, you have to have skill and handle momentum, and the physics actually work.
Yeah, I've never.
None of that's any fun.
Corner jumps are something we'll cover soon, I guess, but
Yeah.
they are actually going.
Yeah, we're going to talk about corner jumps when they start becoming a little more like relevant and obvious.
And this level here is another one of my favorites in the game, and it's for the same reason that we don't really have a ton of large skips that we can do. So as a result, you just have to plan your route through the level very carefully and have good movement. And then one interesting thing that's coming up is that this jump actually requires 125 energy, which, if you can do math, you would realize is more than 100 energy. So the way we alleviate that is we dash right before we grab that energy pickup, which will put us back up to 100 and lets us execute that really long jump.
So you just restarted from checkpoint there. That's a thing you can do on any checkpoint in the game. And what it'll do is it'll instantly give you all of your energy back. That's another 5 right there. And it does give you a 3-second penalty per death, or restart technically, which makes a difference in IL running, but makes no difference in an RTA run like this.
Yeah, so that's why you'll see me restarting at checkpoints quite a bit.
Yeah. Now, portable checkpoints, like the one you'll see in the lower right of his screen right there, can be placed anywhere, and they actually have a 3-second wait before you can restart at them. But if you restart through the menu, you don't have that 3-second wait.
So here's our first or second major corner jump, if you want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, sure. So you'll notice he's backing off the platform a little bit. Demi treats, when Demi is off a platform, she treats it as if what she's standing on is a ramp. And as you can kind of tell already in this game, ramps are incredibly, incredibly broken. You get a lot of height and momentum off of them. So the farther he is back off the platform, the more height she'll gain. And she can go up to a 45-degree angle before she just falls off the platform. So the closer he is to a 45-degree angle between her feet and the fake platform, the better it is.
Oh my god. Okay, so a little interesting thing about the plant life in Cloudbuilt is that while their collision does not affect Demi whatsoever, it will totally deflect your bullets. So I fired that directly at the ground, but the plants were like, no, I'm thinking I'm going to send this into the goal.
And that becomes a problem in like the fog branch where there's a ton of just little scenery everywhere.
Yeah, it's actually quite tricky to make that work well. We didn't figure it out for Cloudbuilt, but it's fixed in Super Cloudbuilt. But it's not that the bullets are affected by the plants, it's more the aiming direction are affected by the plants.
Oh, okay.
Either way, it will totally mess you up, especially later on when we're trying to use something like Pathfinder tricks, which we will explain.
Something can be a challenge for you.
I love Cloudbuilt, even all of its silliness.
Nope. Oh, I thought you made it.
No money for charity that time. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, Charity.
What sort of message
Did you just say
could there
sorry,
possibly be?
charity?
Listen, there will be more, I promise.
We're gonna get enough money for charity. Don't worry.
I think there's, what, 5 people at least also donating alongside you that you know of?
Oh yeah. Oh god, I wrote down their names, but now I'm trying to remember them. There was Robbie Rat Poison, who's donating a bunch of bananas. Maestro Scar, who donated earlier. He actually mentioned it. Shady Fountain and one other one, Kyle/1, are the guys that are all donating with us. So big shout out to those guys.
So actually, it's good that you bonked there because we can show off that he's looking over her left shoulder now, which is necessary to do a skip back there. And if you mess anything up in that skip, it looks really weird because most runners are used to looking over her right shoulder, and it's really, really disorienting. He has to look over her left shoulder in order to spin around and grab a platform quick enough that he can't do otherwise.
Kyle and Robbie have already done it, just so you know.
Ooh, you want to go ahead and read those out real quick?
Yeah, sure. Kyle/1, $10.80. Hashtag Demi. Hey, Wobs. Good luck on the run. Oh, and try not to run into too many stationary mines. They hurt. And Robbie Rat Poison, $22.22, just says, good luck, Wobs.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. So one interesting thing on that level right there was you might have noticed that the ramp I jumped off didn't really look intended at all. That ramp was purely decoration, but unfortunately it happened to be pointed directly at the ramp that's pointed directly at the goal. And an interesting thing in Super Cloudbuilt, the remake of this game, that ramp is not there. All the other decorative ramps are totally there. That one, gone.
Well, there's a good reason for the ramp, but it's too complicated to explain.
Oh, no. Actually, I want to know. Please, explain it.
Yeah.
I'm really curious now.
It's another shortcut from one of the ramps that was intended, but we thought it was too obvious to just have one ramp, so we added a few more to make it like more harder to spot what ramp was actually useful, but you were better at using them than we anticipated. So.
Was the ramp that we used for that skip the ramp that was intended for
the shortcut.
like our use?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So I have a theory about this level. Was this you guys trying to see how many squares you could fit into a level before the game crashed?
It was an experiment in some sort, but not in that way.
Yeah, because this level is real fun on a casual playthrough because Demi has a habit of not grabbing onto 2 objects if they're close enough. She'll try to grab onto one, and then she'll try to grab onto another and not hit either one, and then her AI will fail and she'll just fall through them.
I'm not sure I've seen it enough, and I probably have forgotten it because all of those systems is completely rewritten for Super Cloudbuilt, so I just forgot.
Listen, I promise you, I'll play it for you, and you'll get to see me fail 8,000 times. It'll be great.
I'm sorry, Gavkar. We knew you were really hard then. But it's only because we love you.
Yeah. Because this game is really
I
good.
love you too.
Aww. This game is actually... I feel like a lot of times in my runs, I complain a lot about this game, but people don't understand that I actually adore everything about this game, including all the times that it's crashed on me in the middle of runs. And I say that unironically. Every single bug in this game is very dear to me.
And I'm very happy to have most, or all I know of at least, gone for Super Cloudbuilt. But
So we're coming up to the end of the 3rd branch here, which we're now 3/4 of the way done with the original 22. And we'll be heading into the Storm branch, which, while being the hardest branch, is also the shortest by far. So if we were to have like a Cloudbuilt any % category, everybody would just do the Storm branch, because it's by far the shortest. And it's the one that ends with redeployment, which is, of course, Amy's favorite level.
I think I streamed my first playthrough of this game, and I spent 3 hours on the final section of the level, just trying it over and over until I finally gave up in disgust.
So here's something interesting. I need to charge up a dash to make that jump, which I hopefully will do this time. But when I start charging up my dash, I can then place the checkpoint, and the checkpoint will be placed while I charge up my dash, so I don't actually lose any time for the safety of placing that checkpoint. I really need this to work out for me, though. There we go.
There you go. So one of the important things about dash jump mechanics is that there's about 0.2 seconds between when you need to input the dash and when you need to input the jump. And top runners like Wobs are so good that it's about 1 to 2 frames between when they input it. And one of the things you'll notice with Demi is that she leans forward whenever she dashes. But on that last section, she wasn't leaning forward at all, which means he got it within, I think, a frame.
Something like that.
Yeah.
If you can't see the animation of her leaning forward, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was an unfortunate jump. I was trying to corner jump up to that platform, but we have a backup here. We can use, well, we got multiple shots at this, I guess. There we go.
There we go.
End result's the same, getting up to this platform, and then from here we can hop right over to the finish. And this leads us into the glorious redeployment.
Understood what held back this
Every
technology
noob's
And
favorite
I'll-
level.
Oh my god.
Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I've got my
That's-
levels
that's-
completely
that's-
out of order.
There's
Oh
one
my
more.
god.
There's one more level.
Should I even play this game?
It's okay. You tricked me too. I was like, oh yeah, it's totally next.
So right there, we can use that as a ramp to smash our face directly into that block in order to get up here, which gives a fairly large section of level. Fun fact, if you do that jump too well, you'll sail right over that block, and there's actually nothing to stop you, so you'll just fall right off the level.
Yeah, that level's just very, very satisfyingly quick.
It's one vertical
I
climb.
wish I could
Yeah.
send a signal to the people outside.
So this leads us to redeployment. Gavkar, could you run us through a little bit of your thinking when you were designing this level? Because this was meant to be like the final boss that you have to keep coming back to. So what made you decide on this level to be that final boss, and what aspects of it do you think make it so hard?
Got the mind boost.
Well, the last part is the first part of this, like ramp just got past is that most of the time when you go on more distance, people tend to use air jumps, but they are more expensive than dashes. So the most reliable way to get past it is actually to know that dashes are cheaper and use that. So that is actually more of a challenge than we anticipated. But
Yeah, for-
this part,
I've got a question for you too. What do you call that spiral? Like, do you have a
death
special name for
spiral.
it? Okay, so it is the death spiral.
Oh yeah,
all
no,
right.
that's an official dev
All right,
name. That's
all
we
right.
didn't come up with that one.
I wanted to make sure I
there
wasn't going
was
crazy.
a long time when people on the team had problem beating it as well. So don't feel too bad if.
It was the bane of my existence for so long.
So we finished the original 22 now, all 4 branches, and we're moving into what's called the remix levels, which essentially take bits and pieces of different original 22 levels and combines them in new ways to give us new content without Coilworks having to make whole new level assets. And the levels play very differently from any of the original 22 levels, so it's really a great way for them to provide us content without having to actually build whole new levels themselves.
Should we not mention that this was just the things we added to the game post-launch and such? So
Oh yeah, these were all free as well, obviously.
Yeah. So, like you said, this is past the original 22, which is the original 22 that were released with the game, and everything past here is DLC. Most of it was free. Only the Defiance was paid.
yeah. So the Fog DLC you will get to soon was actually added because the learning curve of the game is quite steep. So we needed levels that was more focused on just learning the platforming and such. So we'll see them soon, but they have no enemies as such. Can be a breather.
So, Gavkar, I have a question that I've been meaning to ask you, and I feel like doing it in front of 90,000 people is definitely the most appropriate.
Oh,
this
easily.
drone hive here seems to spit out drones like 40% faster than any other drone hive in the game. Was that intentional?
That's not a
I don't
no.
know. Of course it was.
5.
That didn't count. She's grabbing onto the thing. She's not on top of the goal.
Oh.
Sad. The Dimmy stickiness just robbed Charity of like $25. So this brings us to to Remix 3. And we mentioned earlier about Demi's gun, how it has various levels of knockback, and how you can use that to get extra height in your jumps. But it can also be used to break your fall if you happen to be falling very quickly, and you fire it just as you're about to land. And we're going to see that mechanic used here in just a second. So when I get up to that checkpoint up there, I'm going to need to do a jump where I will land on a platform that's angled such that I will definitely take fall damage and fall off the map if I don't do this quite right. So, yep, there it is.
Yep.
I never missed this in practice, fun fact. There we go, easy. I just wanted to show off what it looks like when you mess up.
That's actually useful somewhere.
Yeah, so the important part there was he had to break his fall, but he also had to kill the enemies. Because if you slide too far forward, they'll just knock you right off the map.
And that is all of our remix levels. Now we're going to be going into the Fog Branch, which, as Gafgar mentioned, are all enemyless. They were the first large DLC set released for Cloudbuilt. And they also have their own set of 2 remix levels. So if you want to pay closer attention here, you'd probably be able to tell which bits and pieces of the levels they took, since they're only pulling from 5 levels instead of 22.
Like, for example, there's a building in Fog 1 that is in Remix 1 and is just made taller.
Yeah, there's a building I'm getting ready to jump to the top of in like 30 seconds. Apparently Coilworks didn't really like that too much. They're like, you know what, let's just make the whole thing taller.
I don't remember that part, but
At this point, we're just putting words in Gafgar's mouth.
Yeah.
So this is what I was talking about. So if you do a dash jump and a jump here, you can climb right up to the top. When that makes its reappearance in Fog Remix 2, it's actually tall enough that you can't do that. But we can patch that up using something called Pathfinder tricks, which we will explain when it becomes part of the route a little later on.
Yeah.
and the name of those tricks is the Pathfinder is a challenge mode where you don't use energy. So
Yeah, so the Pathfinder tricks are all just various techniques we use to navigate levels without using any energy at all.
Yeah, they're not scored by time like the other modes. They're scored by how little energy you use.
So this level is not unlike Initial Entry, the first level we played, in that it's very linear and straightforward, which is, as we mentioned before, my favorite type of level, because you can't really skip anything. We just kind of got to do everything the way Coilworks more or less intended us to. And it turns out, Cloudbuilt knows how to make good games, so this is a good time.
I'm kind of happy, but at the same time sad that about other levels. But yeah,
I mean, I think they all turned out really, really well. You know, besides redeployment, which made me pull my hair out, I don't think there's a really bad level anywhere.
You know what this level needs? You know what this
the
level
good part is
needs?
that sorry.
What does this level need?
Needs a bunch of bananas.
Hit me up with that donation.
$15. Hey Wobs, here's $10 so far, with an extra 5 for having avoided those stationary mines.
Thank you, sir. You know it was hard for me.
The shots are being fired, I think.
Well, you smashed your face into one on redeployment, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, but that was on purpose. That
Yeah,
doesn't count.
right. It's swag strats, obviously.
It's the unintentional mind boost that gets you. Should we get background on that joke or just like leave it?
I mean, I was sitting there watching Wobs practice for the past few months, and a lot of times he would just slam his face into stationary mines for no reason and then come out of it totally fine. It would just boost him in the correct direction, or he'd be able to recover from it somehow, and everything would turn out okay.
The first time I remember it was during a challenge where you had to complete the full game without dying once. And it was going very well, but then he ran into a stationary red mine, and he did more than once.
Yeah, when you're 40 levels deep into a 45 level challenge and you've run face first into a stationary mine, it's pretty disheartening. So this level falls victim to the corner jump quite heavily, fortunately, because this is actually a very fun level. So if I can get this set up, we are going to corner jump right over to that platform over there. And then from here, this can be a little finicky because the wall we're going to jump onto has a ton of little artifacts on it that will block my shots. So it's possible that if I mess this up, oh, I'm actually just going to go safety strats and jump down here. Ideally, I would have gotten enough height to land on that ledge, and then I could have pathfindered my way up if I needed to. But there's a lot of various grass bits and such that can deflect your shots, or not deflect your shots, but change your aim, I suppose.
Yeah. I at least just learned earlier today that one of the routes on that platform actually has collision, and then we can just bonk right into it and fall off.
Oh, that was a fun practice.
Yeah.
So this is the last level in the Fog Branch, Construction. And this is interesting for the fact that it actually has Pathfinder tricks in the route. So if you want to touch on those real quick.
Sure. So Demi sticks to walls for roughly 2 seconds if you hold jump. And you'll notice he's constantly got a blue shot charged at pretty much all time because it's not bad. What he'll do here is he'll look back at the wall, jump, fire a shot at the wall, run up the wall a little bit, and then stick again. And then just repeat that all the way up the wall. And that has the effect of just inching him bit by bit up the wall until he can wall run up to the top and be done.
I would also like to point out that I didn't actually mess up those Pathfinder tricks. It was just that my shots got deflected twice.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
super
and
unfortunate.
that's what I was saying earlier about the Fog Branch, is that they have a lot of little scenery everywhere. So if Demi is trying to Pathfinder up the wall and happens to have her shot deflected, then it's just, nope, you're done.
So this is the first remix level of the Fog Branch. So if you're paying really close attention, you can probably tell certain pieces were taken. And this is just one of my favorite levels to run. This is probably actually my favorite, because there's no enemies to avoid, the route's really crisp, I don't really have to wait around for energy. It's really just a great level.
I was going to say you're getting that one in a little earlier this time.
Oh yeah, in practice every time I said that it would be at the one part of the level where you would actually have to stop and wait for energy, so I figured I'd adjust that timing a bit.
Yeah, I think you were showing this off to me like 2 months ago. You're like, yeah, I love this. You don't have to wait around as you stood there.
Yeah, that's what made me think about it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you practice this well. There's quite a lot of different paths you can take here. But
Yeah, that's really the interesting thing about routing and running Cloudbuilt, is that if you look at, say, the 3 top runners, you will see vastly different routes for any given level, despite the fact that all their times are relatively competitive, which is a really engaging thing when it comes to a game. It's really nice knowing that even though this route's become generally accepted to be the best, there could be another one out there that's 4 seconds faster that no one's really thought of yet. It makes going back to the game and redoing the levels really, really entertaining. It's one of the things I find most engaging about Cloudbuilt.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do a similar jump here to the one we did on the Day Branch level, where that jump required 150 energy. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, which is do a dash jump combo before we grab that energy, so we have an effective 145 energy to work with.
And the fun part of that is that it only works because the energy pickups bob up and down slightly, and when they do that, their hitbox also bobs up and down. So it really wouldn't be possible unless, like, you know, if they just visually bobbed up and down and their hitbox didn't change, it probably wouldn't be possible, depending on where it was. But it is really cool that that is only possible because that happens.
good to know.
I mean, it's the little things, you know?
Yeah.
So here is what we're
Was
talking
actually-
about. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, we were actually, when designing, not sure if we should make the hitbox go up and down or not, but it's good to know it actually matters.
I like it. It's a nice touch. It makes things feel more animated. So this was the level I was talking about where we referenced earlier, where they just made it taller. So you could see when I tried to do that same combo I did before that worked out totally fine, I ended up falling just short. So I had to I'm actually going to throw that on checkpoint here. This gave me some trouble in practice. But I ended up having to do a Pathfinder trick to patch up my jump in order to get up to the top.
And then first try.
Yeah, of course. When you set the checkpoint, it always works out.
Yeah. I didn't want to jinx it, so I wasn't going to say it beforehand, but, you know.
I appreciate it. So now we're going into the battle challenge levels, which, Gafkar, I actually want to get your thinking behind, like, what was the goal with implementing the battle challenges to the game, which are essentially just like normal levels expanded a little bit, and then with 4 dozen enemies put all over it. Like, what were you testing with these?
It started with me wanting to record a video and thinking, well, there's a little action in this video, so I started modding a level and then felt, this is fun, I should make a level of it. And then I made it hard.
You did make this ridiculously hard. So one of the most difficult things about this level actually isn't necessarily the enemies or the route, it's lag. As more and more enemies start attacking me, the frame rate can chug quite a bit. So this is why you're going to see me grabbing pretty much every checkpoint I come up to, just to get a reset on those guys and get my frame rate back up.
I think a couple times Wobs was telling me that the battle challenges were made so Gafkar could see how many enemies he could have in one level without crashing it.
I'm convinced they were made just because Gafkar was like, I need revenge on these horrible speedrunners. I like that story better, whether or not it's actually true.
Let's go with that.
Breaking my game? No.
Watch this. So instead of dealing with those 3 turrets, we're just going to do a quick dash jump combo and jump right around them. And that leads us into Battle Challenge 2, which had an interesting issue with its S-rank time.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about that. So Battle Challenge 2, apparently up until about a month ago, had an S-rank time that was unachievable by normal people. 3 people had it, and it was because, from what I've gathered, it was because that, so when Coilworks is setting S-rank times, they make the level, then they play through it over and over until they get a pretty good run without any major skips and say, okay, this is the S-rank time. And it's usually pretty difficult for normal people. And so they made Battle Challenge 2, ran through the level, got the S-rank time, and then added more and said, okay, this S-rank time is still okay. We're going to put it up there. And nobody got the S-rank time for a long time.
Is that more or less correct, Afkar? Or are we just like making things up? Because you know we do like to do that.
It's not that we explicitly thought this is okay, it's more that we forgot that,
Yeah.
oh, we have extended this level.
And then he went back and played it and said, oh, whoops, this is actually a little bit too tight.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate,
Yeah,
because I
and
kind of like the ridiculous S-rank. It was a good time.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of speedrunners actually got the ranking, so we felt a little bit bad of making it easier after the fact, but we actually went back and did that not so long ago because it's too mean towards first-time players like are not trying to S-rank the game, and this one level is so impossible.
Yeah.
So an interesting thing about this level, this is UC1. The thing that I just jumped over is a red energy field, which basically just knocks me back and does damage to me if I try and hit it. The goal is underneath that. So in order to get there, we're going to need to destroy a generator that's at the top of the level. And UC1 stands for User Creation 1, and it was one of the levels, or the only level, that won the one map-making competition that Coilworks actually ran. And it is actually a really fun level. It was designed by Califin, who's also the best Cloudbuilt runner by a very large margin.
Yeah.
His talents are many-fold.
It introduces these green jump pads, which not only boost Demi, but boost her abilities for a couple of frames. So he's actually trying to shoot. Got it. Nice. So he shot a generator there, which took out the force field guarding the goal, and he's going to fall all the way down into the dunk, which kills Demi. There's another $5 for charity, but it does finish the level.
So, actually, Gefgar, I'm curious. Well, oh shoot, Defiance is next. We'll talk about Defiance real quick, and then I have a question for you. So, Defiance is the one piece of paid DLC that's available for Cloudbuilt, and it introduces 6 incredibly difficult levels.
Very, very hard.
So, one of the interesting things about all Defiance levels is that they have no checkpoints. The only checkpoints you have access to are those that you place yourself. At every level, you start off with 1. Now, generally in Defiance, you can pick up additional checkpoints, but they have their own little challenges associated with them that eat up a lot of time. So they don't really have the luxury of gathering a whole bunch. And this is where the major time losses can occur. 'Cause instead of going back 5 seconds to the last checkpoint, you're going back 30 seconds to the beginning of the level.
That was actually made for you. So you have more of a challenge with this level.
Yeah, and actually, I really appreciate them. The Defiance levels are some of the most fun levels to speedrun. They're not only do they have no checkpoints, they're also just literally significantly longer and harder than any other level in the game. And they introduced a whole bunch of new mechanics, from those green jump pads to various energy walls that we'll come across later on in the later Defiance levels.
Yeah, one of which we already saw, the yellow energy walls. Running on those gives constant boost as long as Demi is standing on it.
So, Gefgar, can you walk us through a little bit of your thought process when designing Defiance? Because I imagine it's pretty easy to make Cloudbuilt hard. You could just put yourself in a box and put the goal outside, and it would be impossible. But how do you make it hard, but also still compelling? If that's not too intricate a question.
It's a lot about ideas and like seeing things we saw when you were playing and we were playing old levels and thought we can build more on this, or just inventing the new mechanics like the new obstacles and such, and seeing what we can come up with those and just pushing it a little bit further. But it's a very tough balance, and it's not me doing all that, so I can't talk for everybody, but I think the team effort, and it's a very tough balance to hit. And we're trying to be a little bit overboard almost with the Defiance level.
Yeah, I can imagine. You definitely did a good job going overboard on a couple of these.
So I think chains definitely just a little bit overboard.
On the subject of difficulty, I would like to touch on, so the Defiance levels, I like to divide them into 3 tiers. 2 levels on each tier. The first tier of Defiance levels are the level we did before this and this one. They tend to be a lot longer and harder, but they're not particularly excruciating. Oh, actually, I had a route I wanted to do there, but I'm going to have to abandon it.
There's a jump you can do there that takes 99 energy normally. You can try it again.
All right, I guess we're going to try it again.
But you need to use Pathfinder tricks to get over to the green jump pad so you don't waste energy.
Okay. We got this time. I have 100% confidence.
Listen, it's first try. Everybody just close their eyes and it's first try.
It's always first try. All right, cool. So we use Pathfinder tricks to get here. We use our 99 energy to jump all the way to here. And then I have about a second to set up a corner jump, which I think I have, to jump to here. Now, if I waste any time setting up that corner jump, that hunter you saw just off to the left will catch me. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that's actually incredibly hard. That's like the second time I've ever seen him get it.
This is no longer
Yeah, that was very lucky. So anyway, I'm sorry, back onto our Defiance tiers. There's 2 levels in each tier. And the first tier of Defiance levels are longer and harder, but they're still only about a minute to a minute and a half, and they don't introduce too many of the new mechanics, and they don't get especially brutal with them. Now we're entering the second tier of Defiance levels, where things start to get a little bit longer, and Coilworks really starts to take the gloves off and starts trying to kill you.
That's a nice way to put it.
Well, and then there's the third tier, which is
Oh, yeah.
just worse.
So this is, the Defiance levels, on the whole, are pretty good about not having any massive broken skips. This level being the one exception. So a player by the name of Bunny found what is aptly named the Bunny Hop.
If you get this first try,
That would actually be super cool. Jumping between those fences is pretty much impossible. Am I going to mess up the easy part? No, we got it. First try.
so those fences are just as hard to land on as they seem. Their hitboxes are really, really rude. So getting that first try with barely any setup is incredible. And coming up to the end here, you're meant to solve a little puzzle to unlock the goal and get enough energy to hit the end. But with a bit of careful energy management, while he's running on these walls that sap all of his energy, he's just going to jump straight to the end like that. And then Pathfinder up to the end, and we're...
Okay, that was bizarre.
We're going to reload some energy.
All right, it's all good.
There we go.
Nobody saw that.
Easy.
I must say that it's probably one of my favorite designed shortcuts.
That definitely seemed highly designed.
path will lead to
So the
Yeah, it is actually, and but like there you do so many incredible shortcuts that it's not designed, but that one is actually one of my favorites that I'm glad worked out.
And what amazes me is it's all done so fast. You know, there's barely any setup time for these.
So we were getting into probably one of the cooler looking parts of the run, which is the lightning bridges strat. So I'm going to restart a checkpoint here in order to sync up the cycles, and then hopefully I'll be able to get this first try. Ooh. Oh, we got it.
Nice.
I can say everybody on the dev team was very impressed when they saw it the first time. None of us can do that.
I believe Clifton was the one. Clifton found it before your advertising for Defiance, correct? It was part of your trailer, right?
Yeah. Probably. Or no, it's actually part of the trailer we made after launch. So
Oh, okay. Because all I know is that it was part of a trailer, because I remember watching that trailer at 0.25 speed, trying to figure out what the heck he just did, so I could copy it.
yeah, we saw it and said, okay, we must have that in the trailer, and we asked him to record it in high quality and use this.
It is
Thank you,
absolutely
Clifton.
fantastic. Actually, design it's hard enough to execute, but then actually coming up with it from scratch is ridiculous. There's no way I would ever be able to pull that off.
Yeah, especially the whole knowing to sync up the cycles part.
Oh, that was just unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think he actually did without a checkpoint.
Oh, jeez.
So right here, we're coming up to the end of the second tier of Defiance. This is our second tier 2 Defiance level. And next is going to be Defiance Remix, which has a really interesting take on difficulty as compared to Change, the other tier 3 Defiance level. And that Defiance Remix has harder sections, but is not quite as long as Chains. It's only about 1 minute and 45 seconds, whereas Chains, the S rank time is 4 minutes, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Something,
think
something
it's
close
4.
to that.
Close to 4, I think 3 something, but I'm not sure. It's
E-
the longest at least.
Either way, it's incredibly long. So while Defiance Remix is incredibly difficult and fairly short, Chains is much closer to a marathon. So it's two very interesting, different approaches to difficulty that we're going to be playing back to back. And Defiance Remix is one of very few levels that every so often I'll boot up and try and do a run, and it will take me like 10 minutes. So hopefully this will go well.
But
I
this
want
level
to
looks
take the
so
time to
cool.
also plug Jakob Linke a bit, because Chains is the only level that actually got its own music track. It's the long epic level, and it's got a special long music track as well, and it's made to be not too difficult, but it gets difficult through the length, and it's quite unique level.
Yeah, the soundtrack of this game is absolutely phenomenal. Every single track in it is really great. And it's like the kind of thing that I would listen to. Granted, I love Cloudbuilt so much that you probably shouldn't trust my opinion on anything Cloudbuilt related. But I do listen to it like standalone. And it was composed by Jacob Linke, and you can find him on Bandcamp if you like. You can buy the album. And honestly, I would highly recommend it. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm of course biased, but I I actually love that music as well, and I'm listening to it even when I'm not working on Cloudbuilt. Even though I've heard it so much already.
So we're coming up to the end of Defiance Remix, and here you'll see this is heavily inspired by Desire, the level we just played before this. Except with a couple of unique quirks. At the very end, there's going to be a jump pad that we need to get to launch us to the finish line, and it is covered by 2 generators. And those generators are in between 2 of these V-shaped platforms. And on top of that, there's actually a sniper shooting at you too. But we can avoid the sniper by going around that fence, because for some reason the sniper can't see you if you don't enter the way you're supposed to, which makes that level significantly easier.
Absolutely my favorite piece of AI manipulation. It's not even hard. You just jump around the fence.
But it makes the level so... Oh my god, trying to do that level with the sniper shooting at you? I don't even know.
It's my least favorite level.
Really?
Yeah, the ending is so hard.
It is actually brutal. If you don't jump around the side like that to avoid the sniper, it can get ridiculous. And this, my good friends, is Chains, the final level of Cloudbuilt. Now, to be fair, after this level, it is not time. There is a short little ending level we need to play. But this is definitely the last major challenge on the run. And luckily, this skip happens to take us right by a checkpoint, so we're going to get a bonus checkpoint to work with throughout this run, which is going to be very important for the length of this level.
I think actually you were the first one to get the Chains Deathless, I think.
Does it count if you got to QA the levels? Like, I mean, I got to Chains Deathless before the levels are released. I feel like that's cheating somehow.
Listen,
Before
as long
the
as you
depth-
did it, it doesn't matter.
That's true. I should just take my wins.
Yeah.
So here we're going to throw down our first checkpoint, about 1 minute into the level. And so we still have a very large section of level to go before I get to place my second one, so any deaths are going to be very costly.
Nice. Yeah, you really have to be on top of your shot management here, because you have to have something charged right there to deal with those like purple things that'll just keep you out of wherever you're trying to go.
So that was a shame. I was trying to jump back onto that green jump pad in order to skip this entire section of level, but I actually, in trying to jump the same frame I hit the thing, I actually jumped too early, so I lost all my momentum and couldn't pull off the skip.
So these purple ones right here limit you to 33 energy, which, if you remember my admittedly half-baked explanation from earlier, limits you to either a dash or a jump. You can't do both. You can't even do the limited dash jump combo because it costs 35.
And here, hopefully, I think this is about as cool as Lightning Bridges. Hopefully I'll be able to get it first try. We're going to build up quite a bit of momentum in through here.
Just a lot of bouncing off walls, hitting the green boost pads. Pretty
Close
good.
enough.
So these green balls, he's been avoiding them throughout the levels up until now. They normally will send you in a bad direction and kill you. Those are the only intended place that they're meant to send you in a good direction.
That and above here, but
Well, okay, we never see.
Okay. Well,
That
you
one
can see
was
this
even
again.
stationary.
I don't know what happened there. Actually, that was just that was just silly.
Just wanted to get this again. It's all right.
Exactly. I just wanted to show it off again. This time I didn't even get shot. Beautiful. All right, now we got it. There's no way I'll make the same mistake twice, right?
Not at all.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
No.
Okay, we're good. Whew. Hardest part of the level completed. So now, there's this nice puzzle section on the end here, which, not unlike expectations, we're going to jump right over. So you can't actually jump directly to the finish from here, but you can jump to this platform, which then if you're quick enough, you can set up another corner jump. We'll run his face into the wall and die. And jump directly to the finish line here, which is not timed, to be fair.
And so that's another death, right? So that's 4?
5? I think it's 5.
5.
So Chains is special, and that it gets, or Defiance is special, and that it gets its own ending cutscene. Now the fastest way to do this is to climb through this hole in the ceiling, which I'm going to give a couple more tries, and if I can't get it, I'll just do it the normal way. Oh, one more try. Sad boys. So if I could have jumped down on the ceiling, could have jumped directly to the ending trigger, but it's not too much longer just to do this, and that's
I'm
time.
not sure where it will lead me, but it's okay. I don't need to know. I don't need a plan.
That was a 48.57. That was really good.
Was that a 48?
Yeah.
48.57.6.
That did not feel like a 48.57.
That was.
But I will take it.
That was
is
really
awesome.
good. I think your PB is what, a 46?
46.30.
Yeah. That's really good.
So real quick, I would love to thank Amy for coming out and helping me on the commentary, because when the event fully filled up, I was really worried I wasn't gonna have a commentator because I couldn't bring anybody from the community. He really stepped up. He let me teach him the game, and he's been awesome this whole time. I really want to thank Gafgar for being part of the team that created this wonderful, beautiful game that is very easily my favorite game of all time. You guys are awesome. Really looking forward to what you do in the future. And I'd also like to give a shout out just to the Cloudbuilt community as a whole, specifically those 5 people who are helping raise money for charity with me and Amy. You guys are all awesome, and hopefully we'll get a couple more games into future events, because this has been a lot of fun.
thank you for me.
And with that, let's give it up for Wobs. All right. While we are getting ready for the interview that's coming up, I'm going to go ahead and run a quick ad break.
Benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Throughout this year's event, you can head to DevolverDoneQuick.com for a special Steam sale on all Devolver digital games that have been a part of previous GDQ events, with a portion of the proceeds benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Thanks, and best of luck to all of this year's participants.
From PCs to arcades and consoles old and new, World9 Gaming aims to provide the highest quality video gaming experience to events in the Midwest and beyond. With our dedicated staff, tournament expertise, and expansive collection of games and consoles, World9 is ready to take your event to the next level. For information on booking and upcoming events, check world9gaming.com. Alright, let's clear out a quick few donations here from Cloudbuilt. J249 saying, hashtag Demi another 5. My wallet begs you to stop accomplishing goals. have a $150 donation from Brian Daddy. Come on, guys, let's give that a round of applause. Maybe 5 o'clock in the morning on here in the East Coast of America, but we're showing some hype in this room, damn it. Nah, come on, man. Whole weekend off work? Check. Pizza? Check. Tea? Check. AGDQ? Yeah, I know you're all jealous. Thank you to everyone and keep supporting this great cause. Thank you, Brian. I have $10 from Janek Vogt, who says, I wonder when the best time to donate is, and then I realized every time is a good time to donate. So keep on donating. Insert Cloud Joke here. Okay, it says Cloud Joke here. So I Googled Cloud Joke, and the first Cloud Joke I saw is, why do meteorologists not like to dine on the moon? It has no atmosphere. There you go. Still getting those $10.80 donations pouring in. Remember, if you do donate $10.80, you can be entered to win an NVIDIA GTX 1080 graphics card. That's one of the most powerful graphics cards on the planet. Magutu says, not often does a speedrun make me want to play a game immediately, but Cloudbuilt looks so good, I have to get it. Great run so far. All right, and with that, I am going to get to throw it over to one of my absolute favorite people in the world. Leading this interview, take it away, Sky.
Bob, welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2018. And I am here with Konosumi, who's going to be running Densha DD Lightning Stage. Very exciting.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you. You look very, very well tonight.
Well,
what
thank
is
you.
the occasion?
So we're planning on doing a couch cosplay as the conductors featured in Densha DD, and it's going to be a fun time.
And on the note of cosplay really quickly, I'm going to cut over to a quick question by Killing Pepsi, who asks, will we be seeing train cosplay during your run?
So unlike my previous omnibus run where we had someone dress up as an actual bus, we're going to be doing something a bit different, which is the conductor cosplay, as I just mentioned. And, you know, we actually thought about having someone dress up as a train, but we decided to put a little spin on it this time, do something different.
Sounds exciting. So on the note of train cosplay, why was this game not in the awful block? I did a little bit of research about this game, and everything about it said awful block to me. So why not in the awful block? What is this game's redeeming feature that would separate it from the awful block?
So Densha DD is actually a pretty well-made game, and it has a whole series of manga, and it has many iterations of games. And overall, it's just a really fun, crazy game series that kind of sets it apart from the rest of the games out there.
All right, and what would you say is the one thing that would set it apart? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay. Multi-track drifting.
There it is. There's that catchphrase we always hear. Very nice. So this game does feature a train as your racing vehicle. What other vehicle, if given the choice, would you race as and why?
I would definitely have to say a submarine, because you got to get that multi-current drifting going on.
I think given the choice, I'd probably use a Zamboni or a golf cart or something like that, but submarine, very good answer. So what was it like playing a game like this, such a unique game, for its first time?
Well, before I played the games, I watched a lot of gameplay videos on YouTube, and experiencing it myself for the very first time was a very magical experience. Getting to see how each train drifted and how the story played out. Overall, it was a really crazy experience in a good way.
All right, so this game is in Japanese. Does an English translation of some kind exist for it?
It's funny you may ask, because we actually made an English translation for this run. It was translated by N-Forza and implemented into the game by Lord Mao 5. And you'll be seeing all of the in-game dialogue in English as we play the game for the very first time.
All right, very good. Also, too, I want to bring it to everyone's attention that Konosumi did win the Initial D tournament. Very excited about that. Congratulations.
That was a really fun time playing Initial D.
What would you say the similarities are between Initial D and Densha D?
Well, in Densha D, driving a train, you know, multi-track drifting and always having the risk of flying off the tracks, it's very high risk, just like driving a car down a windy mountain course. So in that way, they're very similar. They require a lot of skill.
All right. Another viewer question here. This one is from the Boyks. What is your favorite Initial D song to play a Hat in Time to?
Oh man, A Hat in Time's a great game, but you can't just name one song. Anything by Dave Rogers or Nico are just excellent songs to do any kind of speedrun to, and they can definitely help you get a bit more pumped up.
So we're talking a bit about the music. What about the storyline? I actually heard that the storyline to this is rather serious. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so in Densha D, it follows the same story as Initial D, just tweaked to fit the world of train racing. You have a high school kid named Takumi Fujiwara who drives his dad's train every morning. And over time, even though he's not quite interested in racing trains himself, because he does the route so many times, he eventually just grows a natural talent for it. And he uses that to race people and win.
Do you think he'd ever drive that train to school given the opportunity?
Oh, heck yeah. I would love to.
All right. So is there something that viewers should look out for during the run? Of course, no spoilers, but what is the one thing that a casual viewer should look out for during this?
So one may think that a game about trains might be a bit on the rails, as one may say, but there are quite a few exploits that you should be looking out for during the course of this run.
So again, 3 words for this run: multi-track drifting. Awesome. So now, I've been told that Sent has some lovely prizes for us. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Sent?
Multi-track drifting.
Oh my.
We certainly do have some great prizes coming up. We actually got in touch with Janushi, the man who developed a lot, I believe all of the Densha D games actually. And you know, he was super excited that the run made it into GDQ himself. So excited, in fact, that he donated a copy of Densha D Burning Stage, Densha D Lightning Stage,
Oh wow.
Densha D Climax Stage, and Densha D Lightning Stage is a digital download code, as well as soundtracks for all 4 of the games. But not only that, he also donated all 7 volumes of the Densha D manga. So you too can have the complete Densha D if you're interested in that. That's a $20 donation through Densha D, only during Densha D. So you better get those donations in now if you really want to experience multi-track drifting in only the way that this game can allow. And that's huge. Guys, also remember, hey, while you're donating that $20, $30 any point in the marathon, that's going to get you in for LOK's wonderful sketchbook. It's going to have all kinds of, and already does have all kinds of wonderful pieces of art featuring all of the silly games and wonderful moments throughout the marathon. I'm sure we're going to get like a 2-page full spread of just trains drifting into each other after this run. Really, if you haven't seen Lightning Stage, it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. And you know, we do have a little something else to talk about here. So Janushi, in addition to sending us all of these wonderful games and stuff, he actually sent us just a box full of Japanese snacks. He was like, hey, you know, I love what you guys do. Why don't you have these and share them with friends? And you know, Sky, it's kind of been my tradition this year to feed the interviewers. So if you and Konosumi would like to try some of this, I'd love to hear your reactions.
I think we can do that.
Now, if you're wondering what it is, that's a good question.
I have no clue. This looks like a toasted marshmallow. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to jump in.
All right, you know what, not quite the pungent reaction I was hoping for, but I'm glad you guys are enjoying it at least. Oh, all right, so everyone, keep in mind, Densha D Comics, Densha D Games, $20 donation during Densha D. We're not sure, but apparently they're tasty. I think Konasumi's going back in for another one.
I'll take another one.
Yeah. let's do it.
Multi-snack drifting right here. That's what we got, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna throw it back up to the front here in a second for Cat Quest. Get ready for that. It's gonna be great. Bob, take it back away for us.
Thanks, and thanks so much. And yeah, I'll take one if you don't mind. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we are ready for Cat Quest, I think I heard. So, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, it may be early in the morning, but I know that I can rely on you all, and I can rely on you too, chat. Let's hear it for Sneaky!
Yeah, me. Woo!
Did you just say, yeah, me?
I absolutely did.
Get out!
Yeah, hello. I am me. Hello, friends. All you people that are here for the next run. I'm Sneaky. I'm gonna let my couch do the introductions for themselves.
Hi, I'm Zik3. I'm very tired.
Hi, I'm Scrublord, and right here is Cat Kaneko.
There we go.
Actual
And
cat right here.
we do have an actual cat with us. Yeah, this is Cat Quest by the Gentle Bros, and I'm just gonna go straight into this. So I guess on go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Cat Quest, sort of like an action RPG open world type game, where you play as a cat, and cat puns are very rampant. So make sure you read a lot of the little captions because they're pretty good.
Yeah, he isn't kidding.
Cat Quest, pretty simple game. You know, you got your move, you got your dodge roll, you got your melee attack, and a magic attack that we're going to be learning in a little bit. Our dodge roll is really helpful for obviously dodging attacks coming from enemies, which they're going to be telegraphed by a little red circle underneath them, sometimes with like fancy little patterns. So this is Flame Purr, which is a fire attack. It's an AoE fire attack that, upon hitting an enemy, it inflicts burn damage for 4 seconds and ticks once per second, and the damage is based on what your current mage level is at the moment. And this is sort of like a tutorial, so this fire dragon is super easy. We should clinch it pretty easily.
Hey, Sneaky, that was a possum fight.
Ouch. Thank you. Yeah, so that was that. We're now in the cat piddle. We defeated the first dragon because we are a dragon blood, which is a cat that was created by humans of some sort to have magic for some reason, which we'll find out a little bit later. And we're going to start doing some quests. So we're only going to follow the main storyline because a lot of the side quests don't really matter to us. And the way most quests work is you're either given something from a quest board, or you just go to a city and someone will give you a quest, and you end up going into a cave or a ruin or a grotto, and the idea is that you have to clear the ruins of all the enemies.